I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
His father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hindquarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the 30-30. The skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What is up, my peeps? I am Wayne. Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey Live. Joined, as always, by my good friend, partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am?
Not too much. Enjoying the day. I was busy. Well, a little busy. But nonetheless, getting everything ready for tonight.
Yeah, we didn't talk as much today as we normally do on a show day. So you are busy.
It's a travesty.
I know it, right?
Travesty. We just went out running around. Squeezed in a little gym time, like a little gym time.
Oh, yeah. Just a little.
Just a little. Really a little. But yes.
Good deal. Excited about tonight. I know that you are too. This is your baby. You set every bit of this up. You have been in contact with the two gentlemen that we have backstage. Tell everybody who we got tonight.
Y'all aren't ready, okay? You're not ready. We have Jack Facey. Now, if you remember, Jack Facey is a veteran to our show. He was on before Wayne and I got together to do this show. And then we had him on October of 2023. And now we are having him on again, almost a year later. And he has collaborated with Evan B. Stone. And you guys should all know who Evan B. Stone is. But if not, let me fill you in. If you are familiar with Naked and Afraid, Destination Truth, Expedition Unknown, the list goes on and on and on. You are familiar with him. He was Josh Gates' cameraman. And I am just so excited that they have both agreed to take the time. They have their own show that they are doing, SBC Explorers of the Unknown on YouTube. And I just feel like they're not getting the recognition they need because they have really great videos, but you all know how YouTube is because they're kind of doing it for us too. But we have them backstage and I cannot wait to talk to them and everything that they're doing. They're coming up on season 3 now. So if you've missed any of their previous shows on YouTube, go check it out. We'll give you all that information.
Yeah, very cool. As Tiffany said, you guys know how YouTube is. If you don't have 100,000 subscribers, YouTube doesn't seem to push it as much. But these guys are awesome. They're doing great things. I've had Jack on, as we said, 3 times now. Jack is a really, really cool dude. Evan, I mean, everything that he's done, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, really. And I really want to know, I'm really interested, and I'll ask him, how did you two come together? How did that collaboration happen?
That's a question that I have as well.
Yeah, I'm really interested to know. Really, I'm just all excited about it all.
Well, before we get there, as you guys know, we got to pay some bills. So here we go. If you are new to the channel tonight, looks like we got quite a few hanging out with us tonight. A lot of you are new. So please take just a second, hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it so very much. Help Tiffany and I continue to grow the show. But in order to do that, we got to have y'all hit that subscribe button. So please do so.
And if you have anything spooky, anything cryptid, and would like to come on and tell your encounter, please reach out. You can reach both of us, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com. We have one Saturday left for August, and our whole entire month is full. All of our Saturdays will be full. So if you have one you would like to share, just reach out to one of us.
Very good. Also, guys, if you don't mind, head over to paranormalworldproductions.com. That is our website. Check out, just all the other shows. I think there's like 6 or 7 other podcasts. You got this one, Sasquatch Odyssey, that Bigfoot podcast, Basement Hangout, Kentucky X-Files, all kinds of stuff for you guys to check out over there. But you got to go to paranormalworldproductions.com to do so.
And if you have any questions for Jack or Evan, we ask that you put them in all capital letters. We will be pulling them at the end of the show, and we do a rapid fire question answer session. As long as you put them in all capital letters, we will see them, grab them, and you will have your questions answered live.
Very, very good. Want to remind real quick, lastly, I want to remind everyone about our membership. It is $1.99 a month. 199 pennies, guys, every month. That's it. That's all you got to pay. You get access to all kinds of extra content. We do at least 2 or 3 members onlys every month. We have the Discord. You'll get access to that. You get information on upcoming shows. We do movie nights, just all kind of cool stuff. It's just $2 a month. We wanted to set that at a price that everyone could afford. And as Mr. Alex says, every month, and Mike has joined him, best $1.99 ever.
Yes, we love our members. They are legit our family.
Yeah, I mean, Tiffany and I just hung out we went up to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference. We rented a cabin up there, and we had several of our members come to the cabin with us for a cookout. You just don't know what you get with. I mean, there's we're adding all kinds of stuff. It's just a $1.99, guys. That's it. If you don't mind and you want to help out the show, please hit that join button.
Yes, we would appreciate it.
All right. I feel like we have been rambling on long enough. Have you got anything else, ma'am?
No, not that I can think of. We're just ramblers.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do. No, I'm absolutely ready to bring them on. If you
All right. And guys, as you notice at the bottom, if you would like to support Paranormal Odyssey, the super chat stickers are open. So if you guys want to help out in any way, that is also encouraged. But all of that out of the way, we're going to get to our guests.
Yes.
We got Mr. Evan B. Stone and Jack Vasey III. What's up, fellas?
All right.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Thank you guys so very much for taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight. I appreciate it. I really am over the moon excited about this one, and you guys are awesome. Thank you so very much for taking the time to hang out.
Yes, I know you guys are super busy working on your season 3 with the SBC Explorers of the Unknown. So it really does mean a lot that, I mean, it's just an hour. But
Yeah, no.
That's good.
We appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I wanted to bring, like I was saying, I think that you guys are not getting the recognition and the attention that you deserve, you know, because I can sit down and I can watch, you know, like season 1 with Caroline Bonaparte. I had no idea. I was today years old when I watched that video. I mean, and you're teaching people things, you know.
Yeah, that's what a part of our show is about. I mean, we don't just go out there and talk about the paranormal. We teach people on who these people were before they passed away. Try to give them the whole picture.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, you know, I think it's very necessary because every state has a history and every state has its own paranormal happenings. And I mean, you could just keep going on until you're 100 years old with all this stuff.
Until you're the ghost.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Just real quick, I want to say hello to Crystal Blevins. She has been on the show. She is a paranormal investigator, and we've got her set up to come on here in a couple of weeks. So
Nice.
she is hanging out tonight. So thank you, ma'am.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. Evan, you know, I don't want to ask Jack this because, you know, Jack has been on 3 times. You know, we've already heard his beginning, but we don't know yours, Evan. How did you get your start? Not necessarily in the paranormal game, but in photography, in doing film work for people. How did that come about for you?
Well, I was born into the business. My dad is a commercial director. He's retired now, but grew up on set, and right after didn't go to college, just started working assistant cameraman, and you know the old school way. You know, you apprentice and you start and you just move up. But real quickly, I got into doing skate films, and then that kind of took off. And then I started doing music videos in the 90s, hard rock bands and stuff. And I got some good breaks. And then I came out to LA and just started to be a working filmmaker. But also, since I did skate films and all that, it was always, I could do everything, you know, edit and shoot because I had no money back then. But those skills are the best skills I have. Also, I grew up in New York City. I always say the mean streets of New York, Upper East Side of New York. But I was a mountaineer. I was when I was young, I took a NOLS course, National Outdoor Leadership School. It's kind of like 30 miles. It's a big loop, takes a month, and with kids. And I got zapped about the mountains, being a mountaineer, climber, and then on and on. So that was like, I was a mountaineer and climber at the same time as a filmmaker in the city. I, thought, well, it'd be cool to combine the two, but it wasn't like that. And back then it was, you have the commercial world and the filming with the professional level. And then, you go out and climb and stuff. Until they did start coming together, it's one of the requirements on these adventure shows that, it's a plus at least that you're a mountaineer, safety, rope handling, emergency procedures and stuff, because they want that, you think. So that's it in a nutshell. But how I met Jack, when I did Destination Truth in 2009, that was the first time I ever did anything paranormal. And I was working with the owner of the company on other things, TV shows. And, but I'm always I'm a believer in a sense where it's unexplained and I want to get it on my camera or audio. Like, yo, look, because you can't tell anyone you hear voices or see too many things because alarms will go up. So I'm trying to be like, no, look. But some people will be like, they'll just talk right over it. It's like, no, but look. So Destination Truth was my first time, and the first episode I did was in the Ayabuchu Forest. I always get the name wrong, in Romania, where I got like pushed back by a ghost, and I woke up. I blacked out. I don't know what happened, but all that, and so kind of like I just kept going on the season, but I didn't know that show that's in that season in particular is going to be like a cult kind of thing. And so I didn't even know I was kind of famous until like I was with Josh once at a convention or something. It's like, oh, there's Evan. And then everyone started getting up and asking Josh questions, but they're asking me like, Evan, what happened? So it's pretty funny. So I was never really was a on camera guy, even though I love being on camera. But the business I'm in is changing big time, right? Everyone's, people aren't watching TV anymore. So the jobs are kind of changing. And I saw that early on. And I saw what you guys are doing, subscription-based programming, going like I used to do with Skate Films, direct to the audience, really, like a straight connection. And TV's full of like, it's like, it's a lot of in between. Let's just say that, to get to the audience. So I was interested, and then I saw Jack on his TikTok, and he was doing a live thing, and I joined. I was just like, "What's this about?" I was like, "Oh my God, this is great!" Because we used to do on Destination Truth the Halloween shows live, and they were the highest rated shows. It was super fun. Josh was really funny. When things went bad, you'd like dance or something. So I thought live is intense. It's cool. I love it, even when I do sports stuff. So I was watching Jack, and I was one of the people, and I was like, "Oh, left," and all of a sudden I was in the ghost hunt, like out of my couch in the ghost hunt. But I'm also an AI expert, and so I was like taking photos, like screen grabs, and then getting into the shadows, and then standing to him, you know. And we did talk before then, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'm gonna watch your thing."
This is a question that gets asked a lot about how me and Evan met. And originally, I was friends with Ben Hansen from Fact or Fake Paranormal Files, and he came up. Evan actually showed up on my People You May Know, and I was like, you know what? I'll send him a friend request, see what happens. And then we started talking, and he's right. Like he comes in, and it's funny that he mentions the Halloween episodes with Josh because that's what inspired me to do lives, because I actually commented when they were doing it on TV, and Josh read one of my comments, and it made me feel like I was a part of that like investigation. It was a cool thing. And so I think it's kind of like funny full circle how I was the kid fangirling and like seeing Evan and Josh, and then Evan came in and was like, "Oh, I love this," and he's helping me, and I'm like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
So
and I came in with Jack with like, well, let's just level up the live, because the live thing's great, and also people show up to live. They'll come. Oh, I got to be home. The surf event or the basketball game. So they have it on their while they're working. They're looking at it. It's like an obsession, right? With something about it, a live thing. And I think when you go live ghost hunting, it's pretty transparent. You're not faking, or people will see it, right? So let's just like let that out and say, come on with us, help us. You see something, you send us something. Now Jack and I right away we expanded to say now we're going to I'm going to bring the produced premium content, we call it in Hollywood, which is like the good stuff, not the cheap stuff. It doesn't mean it's the quality. It's not about the quality of the physical quality. It's about the tone and texture. And I said I'll bring that into it because I can do it all. Believe it or not, it's crazy. And we can tell stories, and our third act is live. So for us on the first season, we went live at the bridge when we found out it was Caroline Bonaparte. We knew her name. We even had a trigger object. So we went there, and then everyone knows in the paranormal world, well, now you kind of have an edge, for them to come out or show themselves. And this area where Jack is like, it's like abandoned pretty much. It's sad, but it's sad. It's not like it's poor, but it's not like ghetto. It's just no money, and it's like abandoned towns and these roads you look down and it's just like two abandoned buildings. I mean, all from the 1800s. So,
well, and that's what you said in one of the very first videos is, this is the place you go to hide the bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's funny he said that because literally back when the mobsters back in the 30s, 20s, and teens, they would do that. They would literally come up here to hide from New York City or Manhattan, or they would come up here to, dispose of things. So
Yeah,
he's
well,
not wrong.
So,
it's
so
like,
Jack,
and
you're in New York State, right? Tell everybody
Yeah.
where you guys are doing this from.
So we're right above the Adirondack Mountains. We're about an hour from Canada. So we basically call ourselves Southern Canadians up here. It's people don't even realize that New York is a part of that. Evan's absolutely right. The economy up here and everything. After the big boom where all these businesses were opening up, they just kind of dissipated and went away. And with the Adirondack Mountains, there's over 7 million acres of just wildlife. Mountains, caves, waterfalls, places that people don't even get to go to unless you have, either an ATV or UTV or you're hiking on foot or a helicopter. And that's one thing that me and Evan are planning on in the future is trying to get into these places with Starlink internet. We have a lot of stories about cryptids up here, from Bigfoot, yeah, Big Man, Bigfoot to Dogman. Sorry, I combined Bigfoot and Dogman together. But yeah, Bigfoot, Dogman, Hoof Lady.
Hoof
Oh my
Lady.
god, Hoof Lady's a terrifying one.
You know,
And
she's a new one. She's a new one. I'm not familiar with Hoof Lady.
Yeah,
Hoof
what
Lady
the
is
hell is Hoof Lady?
she's basically the
Not my
Baba
ex.
Yaga. No. She's basically the Baba Yaga of the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation's stories. It's an Iroquois story as well. It's a lady that you usually see walking down the road, and always look at the feet. It's basically something that takes children
So,
or
wait, Jack, are you telling me you're a foot guy?
a hoof guy. Get it right.
Even worse.
Oh, you look at the feet to see if it has hoofs,
Yeah,
right?
you have to make sure that it has hoofs. If it has hoofs, you don't pull over. And there's stories. There's a guy I actually met up on the res who's in his 80s, and he told me he was driving down what's called Spaghetti Corners. It's this windy road, and he came around the bend. He said 1986. Came around the bend, and there was a woman standing there, and she had her face covered. She looked like she was crying, long dress on, and he pulled over to pick her up, and he looked down and he said, "I saw goat legs, and I saw
Oh,
hooves," and he just booked it. He said he would never drive down that road at night again. And I've been on that road at night, and it's sketchy without people walking around. So
With
It's
hooves.
yeah,
that that place is like it's on the border of Canada, right? The Great
yeah.
Lakes, and it's like right in the middle of nowhere, and it's like it's like wilderness all into Canada. So like when you go into the woods, like it's just Jack and I, we go sneak into these, we just slip into these haunted places, and it's different when it's just two people in the middle of nowhere and it's been quiet for a while and you just silently go in. Well, now you're not only there's other things there. There's big cats and bears and moose. There's things that you startle, like you don't want to like catch a Bigfoot even like wiping his butt or something. Like what is he gonna do?
Just start
Like
flinging.
and I'm filming like say something.
Look, it's real.
hey, you guys heard it here first on Paranormal Odyssey. Bigfoot wipe.
Yes. It's like, but we have when people, some of our guests are hunters and they come with their pack. It's a good idea. It's one of those places where there's and then there's this like weird things you find in the woods up there, like Wiccan stuff and old ruins and things and bones. It's like you poke around these kind of woods, you're gonna
bloody
find
branches.
a lot of
rocks.
weird,
Bloody rocks.
That's right.
Well,
Well,
and that was actually a rock that was a portion of a tombstone that you guys found.
Yeah, that was right behind the church out in Oxbow. And the reason when we did the blacklight on it, it had significance was that wasn't the first bloody item that we have found. We have an episode that had never released. We called episode 0. It was kind of just like the test thing. We had it out for a little bit, and then we just took it down because we just wanted to get better quality out there and get things more together. It was seeing how fast we could put together in a night, and we actually stumbled upon a bloody branch when we were out there, and it was covered to the point where we actually had to call the state troopers and make a report. And I brought it to the their actual building that they had in Gouverneur, New York, and it was what we believe covered in human blood. But they said because there was no body and there was no sign of struggle, they couldn't investigate it any further. But they told us if they the funny thing is the detective called me on the phone and was like, if you find a body, give us a call. And we're like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, think Twin Peaks. Like something's up with that guy, and you know, like who's that weird, like the people at the
The
end.
vibes
you know?
definitely come as Twin Peaks. It's like Twin Peaks,
Yes.
Oak Island, and like Finding Bigfoot all into one. Like-
Yeah.
and so for production wise, for filming, just two people with just our own money, we don't want to travel, right? So it's kind of like, we call it a you know, honey hole. You know, it's like the
Right.
Oak Island of paranormal. You know, it's
Mhm.
one town, and we find out that this town is cursed, right? It's burned down 3 times, and all this stuff, and the house is there from like still, like, haven't moved. So what's drawing us in these stories is unraveling, and we're just letting it happen. It's really liberating for me to get out of a big TV kind of thing and just tell stories with my flip out or my phone or a GoPro. No big quality stuff here. It's not about that. And it's still this premium show. If you look at the editing, the style, and if it's too slick, people don't think it's real anyhow. And we kind of knew that already, but in the TV, they're all, that's their thing, right? They make it look good, but it's going along with just Jack and I doing it all. But it all kind of works out. We're stoked on it, and we're just putting our heart into it. Yeah.
Right. Well, and you can see that in the videos that you two make and the evidence that you guys pull. And I mean, you're visiting historians in your first season, you know, to gather information. Were you familiar with this level of paranormal when you got with Jack? Like with the equipment and spirit boxes? And
I'm actually going to move my spot real quick because I have a squirrel right above my head. When I say we're
Real-
in country,
I-
oh yeah, it just fell into the porch.
I know. I saw you. Like, I was like, Jack, you're
I'm
on a
like-
show.
I know.
Let me see it. Well, where is it?
It's above my head. Yeah, welcome to the country.
you
So-
really have a squirrel moment. Squirrel.
Yeah, oh yeah, squirrel moment.
Attack your face or something.
There's a squirrel
but
on
yeah,
the porch.
That is great TV.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I
it's
know.
fantastic. So I'm going to find
I
a new
didn't see
spot.
all right. Well, so yeah. I mean, everywhere you go is haunted here. Every house is from the 1800s. Every road has these graveyards that are like in between woods, and it's just like so cinematic, you know. And so like, oh, that's cool. Let's stop, and then we find out that's the same name as something else. You know, it's just on and on. So we have a lot of content. We go there and we don't stop shooting, you know.
Right. Well, it kind of offers it up every time you walk out the door because there's always
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I mean, I literally live in one of the towns where some of the biggest sightings come out of. I just moved to a town called Parrishville, New York, and it's about 5 miles from the Adirondack Mountains. And you'll walk in the woods out there, and there'll be old stone structures from the War of 1812, and there's just abandoned houses everywhere. And I get stories up here a lot of people that are going on side-by-sides, and they'll be driving through the woods. They'll have branches or rocks thrown at them, and they'll be 20 miles into the woods. Like, who's throwing it? You know?
Yeah. Who would be throwing it? And I didn't see when you guys were on the bridge with the lady in white, there were rocks that were being pelted at you.
Mm-hmm.
From the bottom.
Underneath. Yeah.
Wow.
How? I know, right?
Right.
It's
Underneath that
well,
bridge is a lot of current. There's a lot of current under there, and it's probably like 20 feet deep. So there's nobody standing under there. I've brought in people actually to the bridge that have tried to question that. They're like, "Who'd you have under there? Like, what's under there right now?" And they look and they're like, "Wait, there's nowhere to stand." And it's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, there was so many things, and I mean, in the first season, I know I keep referencing it, but I wish people would just go and just binge it, you know, to where you are from the beginning to where you are now, you know.
oh, yeah. And the quality is getting better too, real good.
Yes. Yes, because you have the strange things that happen. You know, like when you were doing the SB7 session down in the basement, you were talking about the Underground Railroad, and like
It's nuts.
it's
I mean,
insane.
if when you're a paranormal investigator, you want to get a location, you want to get some action, right? And you go to these places like, the haunted hotel that everyone goes to, and that was on the Ghost Hunters last week, and let's try again. It's different when you go to a place that never been ghost hunted. These entities are like they're like, you don't mind it. Hey, stranger, and they're active. They're active too. And it seems like it's like that the whole world up there, the cryptid world, the paranormal, it's kind of like a vortexy up there. It's real thick. You go in the woods and you're open to it in your mind. It's crazy. You don't have to go like 2 feet before it's like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, it's just like boom.
It's in your face.
And then you the EVPs you record, and then you turn them up. It's just like orcs talking. You're like, oh, what? Like Beelzebub? Like what?
Yes, yeah. The sorry, not the SB7s, but the EVPs are they're wild sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
but I wanted to ask you a question about this. Jack sent to me, and I watched this video today on this print right here. And you found 18 of them, right?
Yeah.
And it led to pretty much just ice cold water.
Yeah. A lot of the prints, they came up from the water, and then it was going back into a place called Yellow Lake. It's right outside of Oxbow, New York, where we had Caroline Bonaparte's story. And we were there to film at the bridge. And next thing you know, my cousin Dave, who is works for the Fish and Wildlife for the Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation, he turned and looked at me and he said, I just saw something walk into the woods. And I said, what do you mean, like a person, a bear? And he goes, no, it was large and it was upright. He goes, it was probably about 60 yards that way. And so we turned the truck in the middle of filming, trying to close the story with the bridge. And next thing you know, we're finding these 18 prints that go into the woods. And there were 6-foot strides. I'm 6'3", and I had to almost get a running start to even get close to having the tip of my toe reach the heel.
So that would equate to a very tall creature.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a 3.5 to 4 foot stride. So this thing would have to be right around like 7 foot. Also, the dirt was pushed down on the print, which means there's a lot of weight, and the ground was frozen. So probably something that weighs 500 to 1,000.
I mean, it was like you find one print in betweens, and it's, is it a print? This is like and then you're like, and it was not, since it was snow, nothing was touched around it, so it's kind of cool, right? Even though we couldn't take a mold because it's snow, we did take that 3D print. The print you have is actually a video too, and you can like go all around it, and really get a good take on it.
I have bought a mold kit since then, though. That's why I had the Polycam 3D, because you can do like molds in snow and stuff, but sometimes with the melting, things getting disrupted. The thing that got me with this print is it looks like it has a thumb on the side of the foot. The big toe that comes off the side, this one over here on the left-hand side, it almost looks like it curves. And I've heard stories about people getting prints that have like a thumb, almost like a gorilla has on its foot. And that's what that just reminds me of, is something that it would be able to grab a tree and be able to climb. So.
Oh, that would make it easier.
I mean, it also, I'm just noticing it now, like if you see, the snow's not like disturbed, like it's dragging its foot. So it's pretty tall. It's pretty tall to come up and out of it. It's not like someone with snowshoes or something. You'd see, a drag mark. And it's cool.
Well, and there were prints like this. Coincidentally enough, I was watching Destination Truth the other day, and this was actually a print that I think Phil had showed Jessica and Josh, and they actually went out there to Alaska, but it was 100% this print.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes. It
Wow.
was, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have that picture. But it was from a different area.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
I've heard stories of prints being a lot different than just looking like human. I mean, they have to adapt.
Right. So what are your opinions on the prints that they walk and then disappear?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I mean, I think it depends on the surrounding area. They could be going up trees. It could just be a hoax. There's, you guys know, being in this community, there are a lot of people that hoax with prints. Um, the biggest thing
yeah.
I always look for is finding hair. A lot of times when you see Bigfoot prints, you want to look and see if you can see, if it's in the snow especially, hair drags on the side of the foot, dermal ridges, scar tissue, things like that. Things that can give it to authenticate it better. But ones that just disappear, it's kind of we don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
because
my opinion.
we've all heard of these, like these trackways in the middle, like snow. They're just in the middle of nowhere, just wide open fields, and the tracks just stop. How do you explain that? I didn't mean to cut you off, Evan. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Someone, Troy said that Troy supposedly is right with me on that. I think personally, they're magical creatures, that live in another dimension. That's cray talk, I know. It's like,
No, it's really not. No,
no,
it's
no,
really,
but plus I've really think so, because I do believe in that, and I think a lot of that's a lot of the whatever culture you think of, you'd see the Bigfoot, or you'd see the fairy, or you'd see the leprechaun. I don't know, but that magical being, that depends
If
on
you're,
what you're, yeah, fed.
I mean,
So
if you're talking about prints that, oh, sorry, I must be lagging. I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good.
yeah, magical. Kevin Jones, good snowboarder, Kevin. It is magical, meaning
supernatural.
supernatural, like something that we don't, just unexplained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that why Bigfoot fascinates so many people. I don't think we're ever going to fully understand this creature, and I don't think we're ever going to actually capture one, or they've already been captured and we're just not being told anything. There's a lot of different stories with that. With prints that are in the middle of a field that you have snow and that's how you're seeing them, they just disappear. Snow drifts are notorious for covering up prints, and they that's the only logical way I could think about it. But a lot
Mhm.
of the stories I've heard up here with the natives is they tell us that they're good at disappearing. They have this cloaking that they use.
Yes, cloaking.
There is something else that it could be, and we talked about it, is because the tracks go, but then it kind of goes to these smaller, like, kind of tracks into the water. And I thought, well, skinwalker, right? Could
Hmm.
be. Why's that be a Bigfoot, right?
Do you remember that thing you caught on camera, Evan? You sent it to me. So the best thing I love about having Evan a part of the show is he looks through every single little piece that we have because he wants to make this the best that it can be. And all of a sudden he calls me one day and he's like, "Oh, I got the best evidence ever." And I'm like, okay, let's look at it. And it was that white figure by the riverbank that literally like shifted upwards and then like was the way it moved, and it came right from the area where we found the prints. And from the stories of Skinwalker, that looks like the description of a skinwalker.
That's creepy.
Yeah, and that river there is very mystical. That area there is a Native American, like, hollowed ground. The river itself, the way it snakes. It was not only for trade; it was a lifeblood, but also, they prayed to the river, the sky. This was a big one.
Mhm.
Also, this is the last stop for the Underground Railroad. A lot of things going. This river was like the last stop. Canada on the other, almost, so it was a lot of emotions here at this bridge. This bridge is that old, not the physical bridge, but that same, that same bridge area. So it's like, so what we did, after the end of season 2, Carolyn Bonaparte, she did her God's work and helped the Underground Railroad, and she's still doing it now in the afterlife. And we're just like, oh my God, That's
Right.
amazing. You know, it was like, oh, I gotta chill.
I think
really cool.
I think one day we described it the best about Oxbow. Oxbow, the reason the town is called that is the Oswegatchie River actually does an oxbow. There's actually that shape. And Evan said it one day. He's like, this place is like an onion. It has so many layers of time and history. You just keep finding more. And it's true. I mean, we've gotten to the point where we found out that there's like 14,000 years of history. I
Wow.
mean, you have the Haudenosaunee, who are the Iroquois that go back 14,000 years or 4,000 years, excuse me. And then before them, you have the Palo Indians that were a part of the northern parts of Canada on our side that would be over here. And there is a structure in this town called Pulpit Rock that has been here since the Ice Age. It's in the shape of a cathedral pulpit in the 1800s. The local priest would stand in there and do sermons, and the way it's shaped, it would echo across the field and everybody would gather. And this place was formed from the ice shelves melting over tens of thousands of years, water dripping on this rock. It carved it.
Mhm.
And it's a very, we went there, and it's a very spiritual place. So
That's really cool. That's really cool that y'all get to experience this and you get to take us along on this journey.
Yeah.
You know, because that's really cool.
You
So,
get us like that. Yeah.
do what?
I said, you get us. I like that.
I do. I love to learn. I'm the biggest nerd. I love to learn all there is about all this stuff. So please answer this question for me, because I did research on the Dogman when I was writing Dogman Terror in the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys stand with Dogman?
Great question.
Evan, I'll let you go first, and then I'll go.
He's real. Like, well, you know, I'll tell you one thing. We got this, one of our like pillars of our locations is Caroline Bonaparte's grave, and it's kind of effed up what's going on over there. It's one of these graves that's left abandoned. Meanwhile, it says a plaque. It says Napoleon Bonaparte's niece. It's just like, wait, what's going on here? Where's this town? It's in the middle of nowhere, and it's lifting. You know, it's the sign. And so and you know, all the neighbors start looking. There's not many, but we go and we become friends with them, and they trust us. So now we go out there, and we go out there every time it's something. One time we went out there, we found this like berm, and we rooted around in the berm, and we saw a bunch of graves all piled up, and we looked over at this farm, and around there, you know, it's my land, and they pushed up all the graves into like this berm. You know, they moved the gravestones, but they didn't move the bodies. And so it was like that, but even worse. So like, what does that do to entities? Right? That's not good. So we're in there rooting around, and we hear these like dog.
We heard a growl. First.
Wolves, and then a pack of wolves, and then within the pack of wolves there was more of a deeper kind of one, and it got closer, and we had to run out of there. And later that night we listened to it, and it was definitely something else in there that it looked like it was big, you know. And then the next morning when we went back, and we saw fresh scat all over. So that's all on camera. So it was cool, but like, what was that? Because I never, yeah.
Well, because in the scat in the video, it didn't look like, you know, bear scat or anything like that. Anything that would be large and in charge to make sounds like it was making.
Yeah. I believe in Dogman just because with the stories that I've heard, and I've had 2 incidences that I couldn't explain. The worst one was actually on a TikTok live. We got invited up to the Akwesasne Reservation. There's a guy who owns 70 acres into a swamp, and he had a terrifying sighting of the Dogman. He actually was at a party on his property. He had to use the bathroom, and as most men do, we go out to the tree line, and he's doing his duty, and all of a sudden he starts feeling like something breathing on his right shoulder. And he said it smelled like rotten fish and like meat. It was bad. And he said he turned, and all he saw was this black chest next to him, and you could see the snout, and he ran. And he said he's never ran so fast in his life. And they actually had prints that they got, and I sent you a picture of a wolf print actually to you, Wayne. And this was recovered right next to that property. But we went out there, my cousin and I, and he's the one that works for Fish and Wildlife, and we had a TikTok live going. We were there for 6 minutes and 45 seconds, and the only reason I know that is because that live ended at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Yeah, no, and the thing is, every time I do an investigation, whether it be cryptid or paranormal, I go in with a skeptical mind. I'm like, it's a story until I see something.
Well, and I think that's a good way to do that, because
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we pulled up, we shut off the lights in the truck. We were sitting in the pitch black, had infrared lights on us, and we're just sitting there goofing around, being our normal selves, because that's the other fun thing about being an investigator and doing what we do. We get to, have fun with it, but when it's time to be serious, we be serious. So about 6 minutes, 20 seconds in, something grabs the antenna on the top of my truck. Now, I'm 6'3", and I can't reach it. I have to stand on the side of my truck, hold on to the oak handle, and get up there to remove the magnet. This thing did it, grabbed it, ripped it off, and then bounced into the side of my truck and moved it. Now, my cousin did not tell me he had his pew-pew with him, if you know what I mean. And all I hear about 5 seconds after that happened is, and I'm like, please not across from me. Look, by my window. Yeah, that's what the print that was kept. Now, a regular wolf print is very small. I have size 13 ring finger. I have a very large hand, and that thing is almost as big as my hand.
That's a big print, Jack.
Yeah, that was taken right next to that property, and they've had a lot of sightings. So we get out of there, right? We headed right for the casino that was down the road, because there's cameras, lights everywhere. I get out. My truck is covered in hair scratches. And I'm not talking like deer, because I've hit a deer. You know what they look like. It's very thin. These are very coarse hair prints, and there's actually like dirt, like something was dirty, and it rubbed right up against it. And yeah, that was enough for me. We haven't been back.
Wow. That would make me want to go back, though. Just the curiosity. Like the oh shit, no, I don't. And then my inner self is like, do it. You want to go.
Well, the thing that scared me is that it was big enough and it was quiet enough, because we had our windows cracked too. And I wanted to be able to hear everything. I heard nothing until that happened.
Crazy.
And that's something that big that could grab onto that antenna. That's just crazy to me.
That is I mean, that is really close for comfort there, bud.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for something, well, and two, you hear all the time, well, Bigfoot moves through the trees, but you don't know it. Yes, Island of the Dogs.
I want to go, but I have such a fear of haunted dolls, even though I own one now. And I actually own one for the show. It just kind of came across, but man, I kind of want to go there.
I just got this thing with dolls. It's funny. My daughter and I were out today, and we have delved into Halloween way early. We were both pumped about it. We went to Spirit Halloween, then we went to Michael's, and they had this little zombie doll, no eyes. Yeah, I sent it to Wayne. I was like, "This is just for you, friend." Because
my daughter made me show her this video. I'm not kidding. 11 times.
You're welcome.
I love this video. She kept saying creepy zombie. Creepy zombie. Yeah, she's 3. She kept saying creepy zombie. Creepy zombie.
Rocking horse, and it's just really, I mean, since I got into this paranormal, cryptid line of work, I cannot do dolls. I cannot do porcelain dolls, especially. And Carrie hasn't been able to do porcelain dolls since she was like 6. She will poke their eyes out, and they're even worse looking then. But yeah, something about the baby dolls I think they all have something in them.
Yeah, I'm an antique dealer, so I come across old dolls all the time. I've gotten some that are made out of, human hair. A lot of people don't realize that, when a child would get a doll, they would have the hair made out of their own. I've come across some creepy ones. This print right here, actually, not to interrupt my own story, that was casted in 1980, I believe 7. I gave the newspaper article with this. This was casted in Herman, New York. The toes are so weird how long they are.
Yeah, they are.
They're really thin.
And the cool thing about this is there was scar tissue on it, and there was you could see a little bit of the dermal ridges, and that was casted right out by the power lines. It was 300 acres. They found that way back.
What is it with power lines and these cryptids? And
white-tailed deer. Yeah,
They travel them.
it's the best way to hunt white-tailed deer. There's wide open spaces. They're going to look for places that they can, pinch and take their prey.
I've always wondered if it was like something to do with the electrical field that they had.
It's the only way they can transport into the other universe.
No. Okay.
That's why our electric bills are so high in New York.
Yeah.
That's why our bill was almost $350 this month, honey.
I just feel like they're clear, and that's the easiest passage. That's the easiest way for them to go.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what Cliff and the boys at Finding Bigfoot, they were big on that. I did the pilot for that show, and I did the first season the best, and that's what now I got like, oh my god. Our pilot episode. We went up to Prince William Island, maybe some little island in Alaska.
Yeah,
and it's like
Prince Edward Island.
Prince Edward. It's one of the only place on Earth that has an old growth forest, still like straight up, never been touched. And I remember the first time I got like my Bigfoot experience, Bobo. We're in this. It was this like epic area with overlooking, and it's the middle of nowhere. Alaska, and he goes, does his epic his thing, and I'm filming at night. I'm like, wow, this is cool. What's going on? And then you hear way in the distance, you hear something back, and I go, what was that? He goes, that was Bigfoot, and I was like, but no, it's not. It couldn't be. But then I was like, but what? Nothing's over there, and it was nuts. Yeah. And then he went that whole night, man. I got left banging and then they did something I had to do, so I had to stop the show. The Bobo's like they like bacon. Yeah. So they start cooking bacon, and I was like filming it, and then I was like something like Spidey sense. I was like, oh, what is that? Why is it around me? And then it was like bacon, bears. You can imagine like a drone.
Island is terrible.
You imagine a drone thermal imager would be just a line of bears around. I just was like, shut down. You throw a blanket on it. I was like, you're done. Bacon. That's
me and my dad still talk about that episode.
Oh, you know it?
Yeah. Talking about Bigfoot love bacon.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I live by that now. If I'm out in the woods, if I'm on, because I do Bigfoot investigations, I cook bacon. Because Bobo said.
Do we have a shirt with this? Because if not, we got to put this in the merchandise store. Bigfoot and me agree on bacon. That's going to be there.
So does bears.
Yeah, that's true.
They get aggressive.
Everything loves bacon.
Yeah. Prince Edward Island is terrible with the grizzlies, I think, too. You guys were dealing with those. There's a lot of bear attacks out there. So, yeah, bacon might not be your best bet.
All right, guys, well...
Go ahead.
Now go ahead, Evan. I'm sorry.
No, I was to say I took that Knowles class early on, and we saw bear tracks. Any sort of tracks, you make loud noises. Hey bear! You start banging your pots and stuff. This is like stay silent. The opposite. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have set a personal or a group record for most questions tonight. So we're going to go ahead and jump to our rapid fire question and answer kind of thing. We have over 20.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Evan, you take one. I'll take one. We'll just go that. You go first.
Yeah.
First off, we got Chris Baylock. She gifted a membership. Thank you very much, ma'am. Pickles and peanut butter, which, oh my God, that's the greatest freaking name ever.
Now I want pickles and peanut butter. I don't know why.
Can you be a filmmaker and investigator?
Oh, isn't that the only way? How's anyone going to believe you if you don't have some sort of...
Great point.
It's like you go fishing. It's a big fish story. Otherwise, show me a picture. So that's for me, especially with if you go out purely to do it, well, what do you do? You want to record. You want to have evidence. You're an investigator, right? You find out, okay, what's the story? What's supposedly? Let's do it in the daytime, day sweep. Now it's come at night and with the right trigger stuff, and then put out all the things possible to record it and go back. And if you get results, can you go back and do it again? It's scientific, right? If it happens over and over, well, maybe you can make a case. There's paranormal. It's real. That's what I'm into, and I get good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Troy in Tennessee. Have either of you been to the LBL, or would you go?
I have not been to the LBL. It is on the bucket list to go there. I've talked to a couple people who have been there and told me that is an experience that you need to have.
Absolutely.
We've all
LBL.
Going to the LBL.
I don't know LBL, but I know Long Beach. I'm from.
Yeah, LBL is the land between the lakes. It is this area between the border of Kentucky and Tennessee, and it's just known for cryptid shit.
It's the honey hole.
Yeah. Bigfoot and Dogman especially.
Yeah, I heard that there's been like battles. People have seen Dogman fighting territory over Bigfoot, and
yeah. I mean, there's all kind of weird shit going on up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So, yeah, we will go to Alex. Whoa. Don't just skip over the story of being pushed by a ghost.
I know,
Evan,
right?
you said you were pushed by a ghost.
That's everybody's favorite.
That's what they all want to know. They want to know that in Doll Island. It's in Chernobyl. My ghost Chernobyl story. I don't remember much. We're doing I think we called it we used to call it a haunting or something, where each crew member, which were on camera, would go out into a field or the area, and we'll have cameras on them, which go back to base camp, and and we're looking at the monitors. It's a nice setup. Still to this day, people are not doing that. We're trying to recreate some of that stuff with Jack, but and I was there for 25 minutes, just sitting there, and then I started to feel weird, kind of like I was having like a LSD flashback or something. It was just like the sky was moving, and I was just like, this is weird. And then I just felt a big wind come down, and I lost consciousness even when I woke up, I was still foggy about it. I don't know what was going on. I was a little scared.
You could tell you were out of it.
Yeah, I was a little scared. I didn't know what, and I was like, what's going? What kind of job is this? This is my first week on the job. I was like, come on, we're going to
up for
bank you right into it. Yeah. So, but I try to put it away. But I still have scars on my arm from it. Yeah. They wanted me to go back with the last episode of Expedition X, because I did that pilot in first season as well, and I couldn't for other reasons. But man, I don't want to go back there. Let someone else do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right, we got our next one from Peanut Butter and Pickle and Peanut Butter. Which is more plausible, a Sasquatch, a cryptid, or a ghost?
Oof. I mean, honestly, it all depends on the area that you're investigating. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You're not going to find a Bigfoot in the middle of Manhattan, but you might find a ghost.
True.
Yeah. It's all depending on the place you are.
Yeah.
Ghost entities. We got a full body apparition on.
If you're being plausible, if you're going to find it, or plausible if it's real, honestly, I believe in all three of them, so I can't really pick.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. This one is from Ristol, our good buddy. Evan, during the Josh Gates shows, what was your favorite location and most insane experience?
Not the same thing, but yes. Favorite location is Bhutan. Where we did a big Bigfoot investigation in Bhutan, and it's like it's like a little country nestled in Nepal. You kind of see Everest. It's like, and everyone, I guess it's something called a gross happiness meter. It's like, how happy are they? They're supposedly pinning how happy they are. I think the government's like, you're happy. But no,
Smile.
No, but they're really nice, beautiful folks, beautiful, and a lot of times, not a lot, but sometimes with Expedition Unknown or Destination Truth at the time, it's a real expedition. It's not like, oh, staying in a hotel. We're going out for 10 days. That was one of them, and the Sherpas there were amazing, and they believe in Bigfoot so much, their version, that part of the country is just blocked off for it, and it's out and open. That's Bigfoot, and it's beyond folklore to them. It's something they live with, and it's really cool. Look into that. Who else has a whole district blocked off is China. We did a thing in there looking for the Yeren, and I didn't know this, but a large section of the wilderness areas is reserved for it. When I was like, I thought it's like it was smoky the whole place, and like everything's like, and then it's like this one area. They're like, that's pretty cool that they kept that part of the culture. And then so that was my favorite place, and the most intense. What was the second question?
The most insane experience.
Well, that was the Taos Cave. It's a toss up between the Taos Cave. We went like further than anyone ever has, and this is before like those Thai kids got caught, because it rained and it all flooded.
Yeah.
So that's what could happen. And I had a panic attack down there, and we were down there for 3 days. We had to rappel down a winch down. We couldn't even climb up if we wanted. It was like, ugh. And then we all got sick with rotavirus. And anyhow, it was bad, but it was very rewarding. And then the second would be Dyatlov Pass, when we did the steps of the hikers that went missing in Russia and Siberia. That was -30, went at the same time. And it took a lot to get there, multiple days, and it was so wild. It was fun. It was just like sure, it's like because we're with these Russian folks, and they're like, they'll get us at anything. They're like survivalists.
We got you.
Yeah.
Troy asks, what equipment do you consider essential at all investigations?
So equipment, well, like Evan said, cameras are always essential. I mean, you want to be able to capture any evidence that you guys have, whether that be a GoPro or a trail camera or even your cell phone. Paranormal wise, I usually would bring a K2 meter, SP7 spirit box. For Bigfoot and any other cryptid investigation, I'd say night vision. Trail cameras are definitely a must. Even bait. I've been with a lot of people that have been doing Bigfooting for longer than I've been alive. And some of the baits that I've seen are some of the most hilarious to some of the most odd. I've had people bring beer for Bigfoot. And I think that's just them trying to get an excuse to drink beer. But I've seen people bring beef jerky, even roadkill. I've had one guy show up with a cooler of roadkill, and he left that with trail cams. So with cryptids, I feel like, yeah. I feel like with cryptids, it's important to capture your evidence from a distance, because I don't think that you're going to be able to really like sneak up on them, because you're in their neck of the woods. No pun intended.
Well, and they know that you're there anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, shut up, be quiet. You're going to scare them off. No, you're not. They know you're there.
Yeah. The biggest thing too I hear from a lot of people up here is they go, well, I've been hunting in these woods for 40, 50 years. I've never seen a Bigfoot. I've never seen a body. I've never seen a print. And I always follow up with this response. Have you ever seen a moose? And the weird part is 80% of the people up here who have been hunting in the woods have never seen a moose in northern New York, but they're here every single year. They migrate through here to Vermont and parts of Canada, and they are a big animal, and they can be elusive as heck. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it ain't wandering around.
Exactly. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Exactly.
This question is by Pickle and Peanut Butter. While on an investigation, has there been any run-ins with homeless folks? And I mean, human beings, I fear more than anything in the woods.
Yes. Yeah, I did an investigation out on the Akwesasne Reservation. We got invited to a property that had a huge old house from the 1800s. And they were like, go in, it's haunted. And we went in and we found a person having a lab in the basement. There's nothing scarier than taking a flashlight, going in the dark, and then just coming along a person who's just looking at you like this, and you're like, oh, geez. It was so bad. I almost.
You're like, I'm a ghost hunter. You're like,
I'm not
alive, right? You're alive.
Oh man, all cracked out.
Evan, have you ever ran into anything like that when you've been out with Josh or anything?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, two instances. I was we were doing a thing in Egypt about the Salawa monster. It's like a dog beast who's like killing people. I was like, oh, it's a rabid dog. So I like, taped up my arm. It was like when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna stab it. I had a knife underneath my camera, like, so I looked like a
this
full
ain't Romania 2.0. I'm going in.
I had a full Ghostbuster. I had like the camera here, and I had the Ghostbuster, and I had the night vision, the astroscope, and I was in these cane fields, and I opened up the cane field, and there was these like 4 militia dudes, like with the hijab, with the outfits, with the Middle East, with the AKs pointing. I was like, oh shit! They didn't know what I was. They thought I was doing something bad, and I was like, Rami, come on in. Rami Ramani, Ronnie Ramani was our fixer, and he went on to be a host for a lot of things, ancient aliens and stuff. Like, he's an Egyptologist now, and so that's what I'd say. He came running by, and I was like slipped out of there. No, it was scary because like you said, and
yeah.
I wish I had a fixer. It was just me and Dave in an old house with a meth lab, and we're like, at that point, we had shut the door behind us, and that guy was surprised to see us.
Yeah, it's like, he's probably like, I hear something, like, but I usually hear something, right? But
we're looking at him like, are you real? And he's looking at us, are you guys real? Like,
that's some story. Yeah, well, but one more thing. Like, we at Chernobyl, when we were in Chernobyl, we heard some noises, and it's always like, when you hear noises, what are you gonna do? Over there, like, right? And it's like, Yeah, and it turns out it was some growling. It was a pack of wolves in one of the on one of the rooms in the school, and we were just like, back out. You corner a wolf. I mean, that's not a pack.
You're done. Yeah,
and it turns out there's wolves living and thriving there, and a whole bunch of stuff, horses, and so
yeah.
The worst thing I've ever stumbled upon was the naked man with a shotgun in Vermont. Went to Cold Hollow where there's a werewolf story, and we went by an abandoned house, and there was an 80-year-old man who had a 12-gauge shotgun, butt naked, came out on the porch and aimed the gun at me and Dave.
Hell yeah.
Yep, I was on his property. I thought it was abandoned. I was like, "Sir, I apologize. I'm looking for I'm looking for a werewolf." And he's just like, "Get out!" And I'm like, "Okay." And then
put your guns away, sir.
Yeah. Is that loaded?
They're they're modernized now. It's not a cane anymore. It's an AK. You're screwed. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
An AR, hopefully.
Evan from Bristol, as an experienced filmmaker, what is your opinion on the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Well,
I'm gonna just mute my mic right now.
Yes, I have an opinion because when AI first came out, like a year ago, for me, first thing I thought of was crime. Like, I wonder if law enforcement's using this to maybe get some cold cases, unblurry some photos. And then the second thing I thought of was Bigfoot, is that film. So I took a screen grab and I cleaned it up, and it was a dude in a mask with a duct tape across his face. And I could send you the picture. And I have no skin in the game. I could say it. I'm not. That's just what I record myself how I do it every time. So there's no funny business. It's just what it may be. Maybe because I'll just throw this out there. At a certain point when I'm cleaning it up, there's a point where AI does make choices, I guess, because how could it not? So maybe it said, this is what it is. But it was a duct tape. I'm going to send it to you. So as you guys are talking.
He's going to say, look, this is what I see.
And we've had this asked on so many podcasts we've been on, and the Patterson-Gimlin film for me is, I think, one of the most iconic films. I've seen the picture that Evan did, and it does. It looks like a guy with a fur mask and like duct tape across the front, and it could be AI. But I've seen so many documentaries go into this footage talking about how the knees are, bowed out, and how, you could see the muscle movement. And I think this is what has really intrigued people for so many years with this film, is because no matter how many times people have, enhanced it, looked at it and torn it apart and reassembled it, we're never going to know. We're
Right.
always going to just sit there scratching our heads.
I don't know. Modern AI stuff is we're cracking codes,
Oh, a lot.
ancient languages, glyphs on a wall. I mean, it's
Mhm.
happening quick now. So
Well, and speaking of that, you guys had talked about on one of your videos where you were getting the EVPs and using AI to kind of clean it up a little bit. Have you guys done that with any of your EVPs yet?
I've used a couple of audio. Haven't used any AI yet, but I do plan on doing that. We're trying to find some good programs. We've been doing a lot with video and photography, and clearing stuff up. Actually, Evan is like the AI expert when it comes to that stuff. He tells me to send him stuff, and there's details that I had never seen before. I have ghost photos from 20 years ago when I was doing this that I want to send to him.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as sound, it's something we're looking into, and trying to figure out what could help us, because as you guys know, you guys are both investigators as well. It takes a lot of time to go through camera footage and audio.
It does.
It's 8 times 8. You have 8 cameras, 8 hours. You're sitting there for all that time.
Yeah. And it's very mentally taxing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
For sure.
the audio, this that noise that you hear from EVPs, that white noise, that you might you have to play with it, because if you cancel it out, you're canceling out some stuff, right? So it's like a push and pull. And with video, I open up the shadows, bring down the contrast. And I do these kind of things that just kind of get in there. With audio, I'm not an audio expert, and we barely get any. No, but there's definitely a world where you can now open it up as loud, and then without any hiss, take stuff out and just on different like tracks. I'd love to get involved with someone who does that and could really break it down, because it's a whole nother level of dimensions with audio. It's what you hear. It's
Right.
just, ooh.
I've been buying so many different audio recorders too, because I feel like digital takes, like how Evan just said, there's some digital recorders that will actually remove white noise, and you don't get that white noise. That's how they communicate. So I just bought a cassette recorder the other day and an old style microphone that actually is like Radio Shack, like 1981 maybe, or something like that. And I'm gonna start using that for EVPs, just to kind of see what the difference is between the digital and the cassette.
Well, everything from the 80s is better.
I wish I still had my Talkboy from Home Alone, because that would be the perfect EVP recorder.
Yes.
Am I right? Like, I want one of those again. I gotta find one.
eBay. You know where to look on eBay.
Yeah. I'll just go on eBay. I'll find one. But I want one so bad.
There's I'm speaking of that. I'm trying to get my hands on, which is easy. So these tube, remember the old 80s tube cameras that you point them in the light and they streak and all that.
Yes.
That I want to bring that stuff ghost hunting, because there's anomalies and that stuff that's I think it would be cool to like something different, retro.
I just bought us a high-powered ultraviolet light too.
That's sweet.
Like I said, I'm an antique dealer, so I'm always in thrift stores and flea markets. So I'll find like camera and audio equipment. And I looked up there and I'm like, "Is that a spotlight?" And he's like, "No, it's a high-powered ultraviolet light." I'm like, "How much?" He goes, $2. And I was like,
So
"Yep, I'm taking it." So
I mean, I would say something about tech. It's deep time to be the tech person out there. It's all out there. It's all kind of cheap. A thermal imaging drone, well, that's expensive, but using what's out there, the tech out there, is a whole other world of ghost hunting. Is super fun. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Before we close out, can you hint at maybe what season 3 is going to bring us?
Please.
We are still have more of season 2.
Yeah.
Oh, season 2 is not finished.
No, it's not. We took a little bit of a break because I was in the middle of a move. Evan got a lot of new jobs that he had come in. And so we kind of we're now doing one episode a month instead of doing one every 2 weeks. We're giving you guys a little bit longer of an episode as well, and he's putting more time into it as well. And I actually just found out I'm going to be a dad, so I have a
Yes.
baby on the way.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Getting a nursery ready and stuff like that. And
Yep.
so it's there's a lot of new adventures that are coming up with us, and I think season 3 is going to be absolutely insane because now that we're coming out in my area up here, people are recognizing who we are, and we're getting more and more stories. We're getting new areas, and I think it's crazy because right now we're at, oh, thank you guys so much. We are really starting to hit a pretty high views. That we're over 170 million views at this point, between all of our social media platforms.
Wow.
We're collabing with people, and we've gone over 250,000 followers between all of our platforms combined, and now we have something in the works that I can't really talk about, but there's a lot of great stuff coming, and I'm excited because Evan just keeps on bringing on the magic, and I'm just pointing him to the areas.
Yeah, I mean,
we are for all of it.
the hint is for season 3 is look up.
Okay.
It's one thing led to another, and there's a lot of stuff that's unexplained. But
awesome.
What's cool about last thing about our show is this part of history that you don't know about, right? Because let's just say Caroline Bonaparte, she didn't want everyone to know what she was doing. She's like undercover because she'd get caught, right? So a lot of these stories go undetected forever. So we're getting little bits and pieces, and what we don't know is we're going to the paranormal. We're going to the other side to see if we can get that little missing link, and we think that's real cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome, guys. Thank you so very much for taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight. We would love to have you back if you guys would be interested.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, it was so fun. The hour flew by, and we're already almost 20 minutes into the other hour.
Yeah, we're already over like almost 20 minutes over. So yeah, you guys are awesome. We would love to have you back. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work. Keep doing what you're doing.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us, guys.
So much.
Oh, for sure. And I really hope that this helps bring attention to your show on YouTube. And you guys, please go subscribe. And I almost forgot to do this, dagnabbit.
I was about to be like www.
explorersoftheunknown.com. Please go there and check out Jack and Evan and everything they have going on. It is a plethora. They have their merch store. I mean, it is loaded with stuff for you guys to check out. So absolutely go check that website out. You can leave your email, subscribe. You can get updates. Everything is there.
And can I just give a quick little pitch?
Guys, when this goes to podcast, we will share the link for you guys to head over and check it out. Evan,
great.
Jack, guys, thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Y'all have a good night.
See you later.
Bye. That was fun.
Yeah, that was. We've been working on this for a while.
Wow. I've done lots of picture grabbing and website hunting and TikToking, Facebooking, Instagramming. I've been working on this one for a minute. But it was
all right. Very cool. Guys, thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight. All of your comments, your questions, being respectful, we greatly appreciate that. All right, you got anything else, ma'am?
Yeah, if you head over to my personal website, Tiffany S. Duran, DORAN.com, you can find out all about my books. Shameless book plug here. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the front page, there is a link to our show here on YouTube. If you click it, especially if you're using a desktop, it takes you directly to where the join button for the membership should pop up. Somebody had asked about that in the chat. But if you go to TiffanySDuran.com, it will pull it right up.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, guys. Excuse me. Thank you Thank you so very much for hanging out with us tonight, for being respectful to our guests. Great questions, as always. Until we see y'all again, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.
Bye.
Later.